Okay, everybody get out their literacy notebooks and go to the literacy definitions and look at internal conflict.
Wait, you mean our folder?
Yeah, your folder. And look at right there on the first page, and look for internal conflict.
Struggle within the mind of the character.
Trouble within the mind of the character. So the whole point of this, and this won't be due today, but we're going to work on this in class on Wednesday. She has offered you 2 questions you can answer. You can choose one. You don't have to write both of them. And I'm going to give you tips and ideas, and that's what we're going to go through. So taking notes would be a good idea, because then you'll have your tips and ideas when you write your paragraph, okay? So her directions are, after reading the open responses, which are what 1 and 2 are, those are open responses, form a well thought out paragraph. Paragraph. How many paragraphs are we doing?
1 paragraph.
1. It's 1 paragraph. You will need to address all parts of the open response. Okay, that part is important. Everything she asks you to do in whichever one you choose, everything she asks you to do, be sure and answer in that paragraph, because she wants to see how much you know of what you're writing, okay? You will need to address all parts of the open responses, as well as cite specific examples from the text. What does cite mean?
Like something out, like take it out from the book.
Right. Getting examples, looking for examples in the book and stating them.
You don't just want to write them down.
Right.
And you want to actually cite them properly, because that could cause copyright.
Right. But you do not have to write exactly what the book says, word for word. You can write in your own words just what happened. You don't have to copy it strictly from the book. She wants a minimum of 6 sentences, and I'm actually going to start you with 2 to start the paragraph. So I think you guys will probably end up writing 8, just because by the time you tell your story, you'll want to write more than 6, okay? And then you'll attach this sheet to your paragraph and circle the number of the open response you chose. But for right now, you can take notes from everything I say, either in your composition notebook or that paper I gave you, Bryce, or you can take notes on this sheet to help you remember, okay? So I'm going to help you with 1 and 2, whichever one you choose. I'm going to give you some helpful tips, okay? All right, we talked about what internal conflict is, and internal conflict is what this number 1 is mainly about. In the book, A Single Shard by Linda Sue Park, we read many internal conflicts that the protagonist dealt with. Who is the protagonist?
Tria.
Right, Trier. Who was the antagonist?
Men.
Right. No, yes. I was thinking Crane Man for a minute, but yes, you're right. Okay, so remember how many conflicts that Trier had internal, where he was always discussing things in his head. He was struggling with something, it'd be in italics, and he'd say, should I do this? Should I not do this? Do you guys remember? There are a lot of internal conflicts. We're going to name a few, so then that will help you. You can choose from some of the ones we name. You can come up with your own. So you name a specific conflict, just one. Why was it considered an internal conflict? You talk about why, exactly what it says. Why was this considered an internal conflict as opposed to an external conflict, like when he hurt his hand? You discuss why it's an internal conflict and how was it resolved. What does resolve mean?
How's it like
how does it turn out?
How was it taken care of? How was the problem solved? You write about how the problem was solved. And then you write, what life lesson can we learn from reading about this fictional character's struggles? So I'm going to give you an example of that, of a life lesson. Bryce, Okay. Life lesson. Remember the rice story where the rice started falling? That's a very good internal struggle. He struggled over whether he was going to pick up the rice, right? Okay. What life lesson that gives you is honesty. It's always good to be honest, because
He did kind of halfway let him walk a little bit, then told him.
that was his struggle though. But he almost wasn't honest, but then in the end he decided to be honest, and it actually rewarded him. You don't always know that honesty is going to reward you, but it makes you feel better, right? So that's a life lesson. That's what she's referring to. Okay. First two sentences. If you were to use number one, you guys will want to write this. Just as simple as this. I just read the book A Single Shard by Linda Sue Park. Period. The book.
What am I going to be talking about? The internal conflicts, right?
Okay, secondly. Okay.
It uses the word internal conflicts. You use the word internal conflicts, okay? Whatever big words they're using in the conflict, you use the same.
Okay, can I start secondly?
Go ahead.
Okay, there were many internal conflicts Tree Ear dealt with. That could be your second sentence. Internal conflicts Tree Ear dealt with. Even though you're only going to name one, you're just stating that he dealt with a lot of them.
It's telling you what to do. So now, here's what I want to do. You can do on the back of this, if you're taking notes.
Now we're going to throw out some internal conflicts. This will help you guys too, so I would take notes on this.
Take notes. We're going to generate a list.
Okay, does everybody have that? Okay, somebody throw out an internal conflict that he went through. Bryce.
So, now, according to you, what is an internal conflict?
He thought that either he could tell Kang or tell people about Kang's discovery.
That was one of my main ones, that he struggled whether he should tell men about Kang's new process. So that was an internal struggle. Good, Bryce.
There was that part when once he got done with doing what he left it, then he was deciding to, you never told me like how to do it, and then like I'm sorry.
Mhm. That's a good one too. Caleb.
Trier was thinking about committing suicide after after he had got robbed.
He was thinking about jumping off a cliff. He was struggling with that internally. That's a very good one.
But whenever he was thinking about going to Songdo.
Yes, he was thinking about whether he was going to go to Songdo or not. Do you remember when he was having doubts? He was thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't have committed to this, but he decided to go for Ajima. Is that right? Not for men. He decided he'd go for her. Bryce?
He thought that they were gonna laugh at him.
Who? The
Emissary.
Yeah. He thought the emissary people would laugh at him. So think about, though, internal struggles. I'll give you a few more that you guys didn't name. He thought about how he was going to tell Crane Man about the journey. Was he going to just tell him, I'm going on this journey? Or was he going to ask him, can I go on this journey? Remember how he thought about that on his walk home? So that's an internal struggle. I already had jumping off the cliff when the vase episode happened. And then I had the one Bryce gave us, tell men new technique of Kang's, whether to tell men new technique of Kang's, whether to go to Songdo or not. Telling the man about the rice, that's a big one. Someone said, fox on the path, worried about what to do. I mean, that could be one, right? Do you guys think that should be one? The
Yeah.
fox on the path,
Yes.
worried about what to do. Here's another one. When he was getting all that rice from Ajima, should he eat the whole bowl and be greedy? He thought about, should I be greedy or should I take some of this home? Huh?
Yeah, but the first time.
Right. But he was thinking for a minute, I'm going to eat all this. But then he decided he would take it to Crane Man so he could eat. So, okay, good. So, what is internal conflict? Struggle with the mind of a character. Okay, so I've given you specific examples from the book. You've got a lot of them. There are probably many more that you guys will think about before Wednesday. And just think of one that you can actually relate to and you can get a life lesson from, okay? All right, so I gave you 2 sentences to start with, and now we're going to go to number 2, okay? You might want to choose this one. Refer to the sheet in your folder that describes the 12 most common themes in literature. You guys did really well with the theme game that we played that day. So go and look at the themes in your literacy folder. Okay. And they're up in the room, posted in the room. Okay, choose one theme. She's just asking you to choose one theme, just like she did with internal conflict. Choose one theme and explain how it's woven into the story A Single Shard by Linda Sue Park. Here's where she asked for a few, like multiple things. Give specific examples with an S, plural. Give it specific examples showing how the theme is explored in the book. So, let me help you with that. If you chose importance of family, there are many examples in the book. If you were to list 3, he was adopted.
Printing his cane and
But is that the importance of family? That's more like an external conflict, right? Or were you thinking that he wanted to feed
yeah.
Tree Ear?
Yeah.
That's importance of family. Crane Man adopted Tree Ear, importance of family. Ajima asked him to call. Yeah, he'd never had a family. That was importance of family. Trinity?
What about crime does not pay? Which ones?
Crime does not pay. Well, the robbers. I mean,
They didn't get anything.
yeah, crime does not pay would count for that. Also, any time that that Tree Ear thought about stealing something, Crane Man always gave him advice not to. So go back to those times and think about crime does not pay for that one. I think the ones that would have the most examples are the importance of family, friendship is dependent on sacrifice, sacrifices bring reward. Those would all have multiple examples. And love is the worthiest of pursuits, okay? Because you could list those without even looking in the book. You could list those off the top of your head. She wants you to give specific examples from the theme you chose, showing how the theme is explored in the book. Then the question is, was this a theme we could apply to our world today? Why or why not? So think about your theme. If it's the importance of family, how can you apply that to your life today? Anyone? Importance of family, Trinity?
Just by the fact of having a family, that is there to take care of you, because some people don't have that. So just by having